The 78th character has joined Tacticus as Mephiston, the Lord of Death, comes in hot on the heels of Metanio to take his place as a second Blood Angel. Today we'll look at whether they should be joining your team or just left to face the Black Rage. One of the more popular and incredibly powerful Blood Angels have arrived on the battlefields of Tacticus, as the terrifying Psyker Mephiston, the Lord of Death, has appeared. They will be joining us this month through the Angels of Death legendary event, and Mephiston is an enormously powerful warrior and Psyker. He is the only Blood Angel known to have suppressed the Black Rage not once but twice, resurrecting from near death with exceptional strength and speed. Many whisper behind his back asking what price he paid for such a transformation, but Mephiston keeps his secrets close, and only time will reveal the truth. And so we have the 4th Imperial Psyker, and one without many traits considering they're such a powerhouse according to 40k lore, which leads me to believe that even before I've looked at his usefulness in legendary events, I would expect him to be pretty rubbish there, but maybe his own event will help him up the rankings. One thing is for sure, he does have some pretty interesting skills. Whether they're useful or not is something to be questioned, and we're going to have a look together. As always in this series, we're going to take a look at 3 different things: how long it roughly takes to level him up to Diamond 3 when compared to other characters, his traits and general usefulness, how good he is in legendary events, and I won't be looking too much into his usefulness in guild raids or tournaments, as I leave that to our other wonderful content creators. So let's dive right in. We will be unlocking Mephiston in the new legendary event, Angels of Death, which will be starting on the Sunday the 25th of August, and I'm going to be doing a really deep dive into this in a video coming very soon so that you can fully prepare for his 2nd and 3rd events and make sure you get him as ascended as possible to save those valuable orbs. In his event, we play battles to move up 3 tracks: Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. As you win the battles, you collect thirst points. These points allow you to reach milestones, which then earns you sanguine blood drops. These drops allow you to open sanguine chests, which in turn gives you Angels of Death shards, and that eventually opens Mephiston once you've collected enough. And wow, that sounds so complicated when I say it out loud, but it mostly isn't. Just win the battles and you'll be doing well. And in the meantime, if you want to earn some free blackstone to help you on your way, you can use my Referral Code in-game today to get 100 free blackstone. Just note you can only use one Referral Code, so make sure you make the most of it. And now let's move to looking at roughly how long it takes him to level from Stone 1 to Diamond 3. The reason I say roughly is because my sheets don't take into account all the extra ways you can get free energy, like in the tournament arena, nor getting items gifted from your guildmates or from the daily shop. It also doesn't take into account any hard to get items that haven't been added in lots of places yet, but even with all that in mind, it's always interesting to see how they compare to the other characters. And Mephiston joins the other Blood Angel, Metanio, at the bottom of the list, being the new easiest character to level, coming in at 78th position. He only takes 34 days to go from Stone 1 to Diamond 3, and it really looks like these new characters are just going to get easier and easier. And we can see all of that over on the right hand side of the graph. It takes Mephiston 3 days to go from Stone 1 to Bronze 1, another 2 days from Bronze 1 to Silver 1, 5 days to Gold 1, 11 days to Diamond 1, and then 13 days to Diamond 3, which of course adds back up to the total 34 days. So definitely worth considering from this regard, but let's see if he has anything worthwhile in his kit. So let's start with his traits. He is an Imperial character. He has a Psychic Melee 3 attack and a Psychic 2 ranged attack. He is a Psyker, which means that anytime he uses his ranged attack, he will also hit a random adjacent enemy character as well. And finally, he is Terrifying, which means he takes minus 30% damage from melee attacks. For his skills, his passive is Fury of the Ancients, which is in the damage category of skills, and this deals a psychic hit to an adjacent enemy to Mephiston, and then an adjacent enemy to the first enemy hit. This triggers either when Mephiston moves or at the end of his turn if he doesn't move. The other really interesting thing that this passive does is block healing on characters hit by it for 2 turns. They also can't be revived, and that's the first time we've seen a skill which blocks healing in the game. So very interesting to see this added. Should it be prioritized as a skill over others? I think this is a really tough one to prioritize unless you're really wanting to maximize him. I would say no, as there are better skills out there to give you more bang for buck, especially when you're starting out. His His active is the quickening, and this also falls into the damage category of skills, and it's a bit of a strange one and probably will need some practice to get used to doing right, as it's a very tactical skill. Mephiston targets any hex within range 2 that doesn't have an enemy or deep striking unit on it, and then he moves there. And if there was a non-deep striking friendly unit on the location, they swap places. Any Blood Angel that is swapped like this will deal 120% of their own maximum damage in a melee attack, and they also ignore Overwatch. So what do I think about his traits and skills? Well, for his traits, as I've said, he's very limited in what he does compared to other champions, and we'll see how much that affects his legendary events soon. His heal block is an interesting skill, but is it actually useful for anything? Where are we meant to use this? I guess the biggest place would be in Guild Wars or Tournament Arena against Aleph Null. It could also be used against other healers, but we rarely see anyone outside of maybe Isabella in Guild Wars. So although it's a very cool skill, I do see very few practical places that it might be useful. His active is a bit strange as well. It does decent damage, I guess, and can get past someone like Revas, but this dude is not a tank, and although he has Terrifying, he will get trashed pretty quickly if he's up front. In terms of the modes that he fits into, like I said, he might be a decent in an attacking Guild Wars force that has to deal with a diamond level Necrons or Isabella. Outside of that, unless he's the first Psyker to score highly in legendary events, he won't be fitting into there. For Tournament Arena, we will see shortly, but I just don't really have a team that he's going to fit into very well yet. And finally, for guild raids, he does have the potential to be another part of the Neurothrope team, as he will add 2 Neuroparasites there. But who would you replace him with? Not Abraxas or Yazagor because of the speed that they add in the Neuroparasites. And Rosita and Ahriman deal too much damage together, so yeah, I just don't see him displacing them for the moment. And so who does he work really well with? Well, this is really awkward, because I don't think he fits into any team particularly well. And do you know who he reminds me on? It's the other Lord of something that has 3 melee psychic attack and 2 range psychic attack. Yeah, that's right, Niall, the Lord of the Runes, and he is about as much use in the game as a chocolate fire guard, so I don't really see Mephiston joining in much more. Of course, we'll have to see how he fits in with the rest of his Blood Angels when they're released, and if it's anything like the recent factions, there should be a lot of synergies there, but as a character on his own, I just do not see the point. So overall, I don't see this character painting the town red anytime soon. There are just better characters out there that you can play with who are either better supporting, deal more damage, or just look way more cool than Mr. Nipples here. So let's move on to his legendary event scores, and we're going to include his own legendary event here too, and that also means that we're going to see a whole new top 20 characters again, which we'll look into later. So let's start with the Vitruvius event. In the Alpha track, he appears in the ranged and no resilient battles. In the Beta track, he appears in the max 2 hits, no infiltrate, and no summons battles. In the Gamma track, he doesn't get to play as it's no Imperials allowed, and so he ends up with 265 points. As regular viewers will know, 400 is usually a good score, and Mephiston does not get anywhere near that, so not a great start. If we move to the Karn event, he doesn't get to play in the Alpha track because it's no Imperials. In the Beta track, he is in the no Terminator armor and no big target battles. And in the Gamma track, he is in the no mechanical and no flying battles. And that gives him an utterly trash score of 110 points. It's not looking good for Mephiston. Let's see if his own legendary event fits him better. In the Alpha track, it's no Imperials, and so he doesn't get to play. In the Beta track, it's no Chaos, but he only appears in the no big target battles. And in the Gamma track, even though it's no Chaos, no Xenos, he only appears in the ranged, no mechanical, and max 2 hit battles, which gives him a score of 230 points. Again, that seems really low, but if you look at the rest of the characters, 410 is the highest score and there's nobody else above 400 points. 230 is actually around about the average for this event, so not too bad there. But if we move to the best teams overall tab and we go looking for Mephiston, we can find him all the way down in 75th place. This is incredibly disappointing to see another Imperial Psyker character coming in and being essentially useless in legendary events. Not only that, but he's even useless in his own event. With that in mind, I don't think he's someone I will be rushing to level. And so with the new edition of Mephiston's event, we can see some changes to the top 20 scoring characters in legendary events. Mephiston's event is certainly interesting as it almost bans chaos completely and adds a new Psyker battle that we haven't seen before. So we should definitely expect to see some changes here, but not at the top, as Calandus leads the way clear on 1600 points. Morgan Ra and Sho Sul have swapped places, and the three of them make up the top 3. My favourite tank, Tyrant Guard, is a very welcomed 4th place, and the top 5 is rounded out by another seriously good character in Revas. Typhus is the first non-Xenos coming in at 6th place, and incredibly, they are the only non-Xenos in the top 10, with the rest of the slots being rounded out by Eldrion, Onshi, Neurothrope, and Snapareka, and so legendary events are definitely where you can see the Xenos shine. And any of these are seriously worth considering to level. But where are the Imperials? We've just had an event which actually bans most of the other characters, and yet the Imperials are still not in the top 10. Well, at least there are now 3 Imperials finally joining the top 20. Vitruvius is the highest of those, and then Morvenval and Ulf are the other 2 rounding out the list. But let's have a look at the bottom of the list as well, because we can find plenty of Imperials down there too. The worst 5 characters in legendary events for scoring are Castellan Creed, Niall, Exeter Row, Mephiston, and Deathleaper. So 4 out of the 5 are Imperial, and in fact, 8 out of the bottom 10 are Imperial. Quite a disappointing turnout for our brothers and sisters, as we can see Isabella continuing to fall down the list. I guess Snowprint has just had enough of the Isabella Battle Ball, so we're gonna have to definitely level up some new characters to fit. So what do you think of Mephiston? Is this Lord of Death going to be reaping his way into your team, or will he be joining your other ignored collection of Imperials sitting at Stone 1? You can check him out right now in the latest version of the Google Planner sheets linked below.